So there's a word from Hilel Zakin about don't do unto others that you don't like done to you. And then the Christians say, some claim that he was that the Yashke was a student of Hilel, and he said it in the positive. Do what you want to be done by. It's called the golden rule. And also it has a belief in karma, that whatever you do is going to come back to you. So you should, if you want to believe in that, that will be a good motivator. So it was so they say, yeah, it came from, and he says that's the Torah. He says that's the whole Torah. V'idach pirushahu. So those people who believe that Miztvos is important, they have to reinterpret the saying, and they have to make it fit and shoehorn it to fit them. So they said, yeah, keeping Miztvos is included in that, and somehow they made that point. But the Gewaldige Pshat about V'idach pirushahu is, beautiful garden here. The idach pirushahu, that what's the pirush? A pirush is like a pshatel, a oistre. Like the guy doesn't want to be good, so he uses the idach pirushahu, that the rest of the Torah is an excuse not to be good and not to have to worry about doing harm. How does he do that? So an amazing story. I met someone in the supermarket, in the kosher market in Los Angeles, and he says hello, and he's a nice, regular nice guy, not too nice. He's more on the selfish side, but that's his nature. He's not a cruel person, he's just selfish. And I know this from some incidents about him. That's just his nature, and that's who he is. He likes to protect himself and his property, and he's not so giving and sharing. But he asked me if I'd like to put on tefillin. So I told him, I already did in the morning. He assumed that I don't put on anymore because he uses his own logic, which is okay. Some will say it's insulting, but don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Can't expect better. Looking at his intelligence, but I thought to myself, so first off, I told him I already did it, and he was even surprised. He couldn't, like some people will accept it because they have a thing, a chazaka, Yid doesn't tell a lie, but it's also an excuse, because the fact is, we don't know if someone's telling you the truth, especially if you're confronting to someone something. So usually, as a defense, nobody's going to tell you the truth because you're asking the guy a question first, which you shouldn't be, because if someone offers you information, then it's wrong for him to be dishonest. But if you're asking someone for information, so usually people protecting their privacy. But anyway, amazing of the stories, I said to him, I already did it in the morning, I davened very early. So he's like, really? So I said, yeah, there's 9 people and they need me, and they're my neighbors and they're nice guys. Why not? I gave him no reason to not believe it. And whether that day or not whether it was true about that day or not, we want to paint the perfect world where this guy would approach me the exact day that it was done. So anyway, but the point was, I looked into the idea and I said, wow, he's not particularly a guy that likes to go out of his way to do chesed. So he'll do kindness to anyone if it's in a deal, if it's packaged in a deal. But he won't do chesed to someone, and he needs to feel like he's doing chesed. And tefillin is a wonderful way. So that's the v'idach pirushahu. I realized that his idea of tefillin is it gives him the satisfaction of feeling like he did some goodness and kindness, which tefillin I put on thousands of times before this guy ever became frum. And I'm getting zero credit from him, realizing that that's thousands of times, they all add up, and I don't need another pair of tefillin to put it on. No matter what type of beliefs he has in his head, they should always lend him a little bit of reason. And however, and I explained to him very nicely that there's no mitzvah to put tefillin on people more times. The Rebbe said that it was taking people out of karkafta, that a guy who never put on tefillin, and there is some halachic thing that says that he's a chayti Yisrael b'gufa, which is not a problem. If a good person is a chayti Yisrael b'gufa, according to that theologian that wrote that pshat, it's not a problem anyway, by Hashem. So so what's the v'idach pirushahu? How could it be? With the mitzvahs, yeah, and so he says, v'idach pirushahu, that some people, they do frumkai. We're not talking about a guy that does it because it's his father's tradition and his father told him how to do it and his father handed them down a thing. You say Kaddish and you daven and keep Shabbos. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a person that really feels like he's doing something when he really wants to do nothing.